Have you noticed your wallet feeling a little lighter lately? Maybe that trip to the gas station cost a lot more than you expected, or your grocery bill just keeps creeping up. It's not just you. A conflict that kicked off in the Persian Gulf at the end of February 2026 is already starting to make things more expensive for all of us. So how does a fight thousands of miles away manage to reach right into your pocket? We're going to break down how this conflict in Iran is directly connected to the rising prices you're seeing for gas, food, and pretty much everything else. This isn't just some distant news headline. It's having a real impact on your money. To get why your costs are going up, we need to look at a map. The conflict started around February 28, 2026, when the US and Israel launched joint strikes on Iran. In response, Iran has aimed its retaliation at one of the most vital arteries in the world's economy, the Strait of Hormuz. Think of the world's oil supply like the blood flowing through a body. The Strait of Hormuz is a tiny but absolutely critical artery. This narrow strip of water, just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, is the pipeline for about a fifth of the world's daily oil supply. It's also a major route for a huge portion of the planet's liquefied natural gas, or LNG, and is critical for things like fertilizer. Since the conflict began, this choke point has been seriously disrupted. Iran has attacked ships and issued warnings, causing major shipping companies to pause their routes through the area. While it's not totally closed, traffic has slowed to a crawl. At times, LNG tanker traffic has stopped completely. It's like a 6-lane superhighway being shut down and replaced with a single dangerous country road. The result was an immediate shock to global energy markets. The first and most obvious place you've seen this impact is at the gas station. Oil is a global commodity, which means its price is set by what's happening with supply and demand worldwide. So when a major supply line like the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, the whole market gets nervous. Brent crude, which is the benchmark for international oil, saw its price surge. Since the war started, the price has shot up by over 40%. The US benchmark, WTI, also saw a massive jump. So why does that matter to you? Because the price of crude oil is the biggest factor in what you pay for gasoline. That spike in oil prices translated directly to pain at the pump. Prices have been climbing fast, in some cases marking one of the quickest jumps we've seen in years. In some states, like California, prices have climbed especially high. This isn't just a small bump, it adds up to hundreds of millions of dollars in extra costs for American drivers every single day. And it's not just about gasoline. The price of diesel, the fuel that powers the trucks moving almost every product you buy, has also skyrocketed. And that's where the ripple effect starts to spread way beyond the gas station. If you're getting value from this breakdown and want to stay ahead of how global events affect your wallet, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We put out regular content to help you make sense of it all. The conflict's impact doesn't stop at the pump. Higher energy prices act like a hidden tax on nearly everything you buy, and you can really see it at the grocery store. The entire food system runs on energy. First, there's farming. A key ingredient for modern agriculture is fertilizer, especially nitrogen-based ones. Making that fertilizer requires a ton of natural gas. With the Strait of Hormuz disrupted, a huge chunk of the world's seaborne fertilizer trade is under threat. That's caused fertilizer prices to spike. Some reports showed them jumping by almost 20% right after the first strikes. Those higher costs get passed down the line, from the farmer to the distributor to the grocery store, and finally to you. Even the plastic wrap on your food is tied to this. Most plastics are petroleum products, so when oil gets more expensive, so does the packaging. And it's not just food. Any industry that depends on shipping or manufacturing is feeling this. Air travel is a great example. Jet fuel costs have soared, which means higher ticket prices are likely on the way, right as people plan for spring and summer trips. When the price of a core item like energy goes up and pushes the price of everything else up with it, that's an inflationary shock. And that has grabbed the full attention of Wall Street and the Federal Reserve. The stock market has been on edge since the conflict started. Investors hate uncertainty, and a conflict with no clear end in a vital energy region is about as uncertain as it gets. Fears that high energy prices will slow down the economy have triggered sell-offs. But more importantly, these events have completely upended the conversation around inflation and interest rates. For the past year, the big question was when the Federal Reserve would finally start cutting interest rates. Now, that conversation has flipped on its head. This is a nightmare scenario for the Fed. Rising energy prices cause inflation, which would normally make them want to keep interest rates high to cool the economy down. But at the same time, high energy costs act like a brake on the economy and threaten jobs, which would normally be a reason to cut rates for support. This dilemma creates even more uncertainty. The Fed has held rates steady for now, admitting that the outlook is incredibly fuzzy because of the conflict. This has Wall Street guessing, with some traders now betting on the possibility of a rate hike in 2026 instead of the cuts everyone was expecting. This matters to you because higher interest rates can affect mortgage rates, car loans, and credit card debt for a long time. A question that always comes up in these situations is, the U.S. is one of the world's top oil producers, so why does a conflict in the Middle East hit us so hard? It's a fair question, but the answer is that oil is a truly global market. Even though the U.S. produces a lot of oil, the price we sell it for is still tied to the global price. When supply gets squeezed anywhere in the world, it pulls the price up for everyone, including here at home. In the energy market, no country is an island. And while you hear talk about increasing domestic production, those efforts produce only a tiny fraction of what's being disrupted in the Persian Gulf. The oil that flows through the Strait of Hormuz is simply too much to be replaced easily. On top of that, the U.S. is also a major exporter of liquefied natural gas, LNG. This links our home market for natural gas to global prices. So when Iran attacks LNG facilities in Qatar, one of the world's biggest suppliers, it disrupts global supply and pushes prices up for us here, too. So when you pull it all together, the chain reaction is pretty clear. A conflict breaks out in the Persian Gulf and disrupts a major energy artery. That causes oil prices to spike around the world. You see it immediately at the gas station. But from there, the higher cost of fuel makes it more expensive to grow food, transport goods, and manufacture products. That in turn makes almost everything you buy more expensive. Finally, this wave of price hikes sparks fears of inflation, rattles the markets, and puts the Federal Reserve in a tough spot, which could mean higher interest rates on loans for years to come. What started as a distant conflict has, in just a matter of weeks, become a very real factor in the cost of living for every American. The main thing to watch now is how long these disruptions last. The longer the Strait of Hormuz remains a dangerous shipping route, the more these price pressures are going to build. This situation is changing by the day, and we'll be tracking the economic fallout every step of the way. To make sure you don't miss our next update, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. We also want to hear from you. What price increases have you been noticing the most where you live? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.